Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-news.com, and tonight we're looking at a very oxidized IPA. So Mike's been experimenting with O2, just pumping O2 into a beer for 3 months straight, and this is what he got. No, this is something completely different. I have no idea what this is. He said, all right, we're going to do something. It's going to be complicated. There's a lot of things to it, but just go along with the ride. And I said, okay, I can do that. So I'm going to let you speak because I'm just going to drink this.
So this is either going to be a mild success or a complete and utter disaster.
Oh.
So if you're following along at home, if you watch a lot of these shows, you want to observe that something has changed. So there's a carboy back here of sour golden ale that's been sitting there for at least 6 years. So you got to let these things age out. So
clearly,
so this is a mixed fermentation with Rosier. I pitched some of my own bread into it. The base is like Pilsner, wheat malt, and probably little carapils. I do not remember what recipe went into that because it's been sitting there for so long.
Yeah.
What's even worse is a plastic bucket down here of sour beer too. So I used to have like a pseudo cellar going where I was moving batches forward. I just got tired of trying to maintain it. So this one's been sitting behind us for quite some time, and it was crystal clear until I poked an auto siphon through the pellicle, essentially.
Yeah.
So this is my standard sour beer. And what I did, I wanted to sort of rescue it, see if I could take a well-aged sour beer, mixed fermentation, and transform it into something that was maybe moderately drinkable or a little bit interesting. So what I did here is I took 2 pounds of, I think it's Weiler's, the sweet and tart cherry blend, the frozen cherries.
Okay.
I took a 2-pound bag. I dropped that into a small stock pot with half a liter to 3/4 of a liter of water.
Okay.
And gently heated it to get the rest, because they were still frozen and I wasn't wasting time. So anyway, I wanted to heat them, and then I took a potato masher and broke them up really well, and just barely brought it to, I didn't boil it because I didn't want to like set pectin or whatever, but I just brought it up to enough heat that it was just starting to simmer. Then I took my immersion blender and really went to town to break up the cherries even more. So there's a little sediment in there, and that is just cherry pulp. But, so anyway, once I had that, then I also added to this slurry of cherryness, 1/2 pound, 8 ounces of lactose.
Oh, okay.
To try to balance out what I thought, I hadn't even tasted the beer yet, what I thought would probably be pretty aggressively sour. So I wanted to maybe soften it with a little lactose. So bringing in some fruit. Now, I did this 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So we're not fermenting out any of that sugar.
No.
It's been in the fridge, carbonating it hard in a mini keg. And just to hedge my bets on the cherry flavor, I also added 2 tablespoons of cherry flavor extract.
Oh, from our friends at Jasper's Homebrew in
So
Miami.
just some of that stuff that you would maybe normally use to make like seltzer or flavor beer without adding fruit if you wanted to, just to ensure that I had enough cherryness going on in here. So.
Well, that was quite the wild ride, that's for sure. Well, number one, the spoiler is we finally figured out what that tastes like, and the report is in. It's good. I mean, I think that
it's not bad.
It's not bad at all. Like, I took the first sip knowing that it was something fruity or something that had fruit in it and probably sour.
Yeah.
Because it has like a Flanders red look to it too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
The other big report that I can say that I think that all the prep you did with the cherries brought that flavor out, and it's not the artificial, the cough syrup stuff.
I use very little of it.
Yeah.
What I did do, I forgot to mention too. So once I had that pulpy thing all zipped up, I ran it through a colander to get the bulk of the pulp out of it into a thing, and then into just a pitcher, and put that in the bottom of the keg, then rack the beer on top of it. So I did try to strain out the bulk of the pulp. I was actually surprised how much pulp there was still here, but this is obviously small bits that went through the colander. And I didn't use any special colander, just use the normal spaghetti colander.
And you're also, the dip tubes on the bottom, so you're getting.
So I'm getting some of that too, right? And it might clear up a little bit more as it sits, but we'll see how long I bother to keep it around the keg. But
the first pours, we get all the pulp. And
yeah. Well, you should have seen the first pour.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but we're good. We're good.
It was all pulp.
So, but yeah, it's not bad. I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I think probably a week in the keg to get the carb level up.
I think the cool thing is that the extract comes through mostly on the nose, right? But then the flavor is still a natural fruit.
Yeah, you're right.
Flavor thing.
Oh wow!
And I knew I've actually had these frozen cherries in the bottom of my freezer for almost as long as that beer's been sitting there, right? So that was the plan originally, was to ferment it out on cherries, right? But I just wanted to try to produce something, make it happen. It still has, I think a lot of people, when you go to any tasting room, microbrewery, brew pub now these days, if you're going to get a fruited sour, it's generally going to be kettle sour.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that. This has got a lot of Brett dynamics.
Sure.
It's got that leather type of thing, a little bit of that barnyard type of thing. The true test I haven't checked out yet is whether or not my wife will like this, because she likes it. She likes those kettle soured, lactose, heavily fruited beers when we go to breweries around here. So I told her I was making this. She's looking forward to trying it. So
I think she'll like it. Yeah, because
she usually drinks a true mixed ferment sour, and she's like, oh, there's too much Band-Aid in there for me, right? But I think the cherry and the stuff is masking over any Band-Aid.
Absolutely, yeah. You know? I think it's mostly just sour, cherry, and it's also ice cold too, which is really nice.
Yeah, this is one of the first warm days we've had here, so this is a pretty refreshing adventure. Yep.
So I think that all those factors, I think, will be we get high marks from.
Do you think there's a little bit of? I mean, I think there is, because I had tasted the base beer and I should have pulled out some of the base beer for you, but I think there's a little bit of. I mean, it's half a pound on about 2 gallons of beer of lactose, and normally you'd be throwing a pound in a 5-gallon batch. So this is actually a little bit higher rate.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of softness on the palate from there's a little bit of mouthfeel.
Yeah.
That's then the completely super dry,
flat, super thin,
which is another reason why I want to throw the lactose in there. Yeah. A little bit of residual sweetness and a little bit of something to carry everything on the palate.
Everything else too, yeah. And probably just to connect it with our memories of what a fuller body beer would be. I think that's some of the things that I struggle with true sours is the lightness of its body. And so then you're getting a sense of what is this,
Yeah, and I think those beers have to be super highly carbonated in order to achieve some sort of mouthfeel experience. Yeah.
Well, I would say this is a great success, and some things are worth the wait.
Yeah,
even if it is six years or whatever.
Or something. I don't really know. I can't remember.
You probably have to go back in the YouTube archives and say when does that
show up? Yeah.
Someone is going to go back in time and look at videos from, I don't know, 18 at this point? Jeez, and see what that
The stuff used to be all the way in the corner, and they got pulled forward so I could put my books there.
Yep.
I don't even want to know what to do with that bucket, that plastic bucket. Yeah. And just for record, both of these, this one too, if you notice, that airlock is bone dry. Mm-hmm. The airlock has been bone dry for about 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
That's been there since pre-COVID, so that airlock is bone dry. And then that's why there's you can't see it as much now, but there was a pretty good little pellicle on there, because the point of that, those bacteria are trying to protect themselves from oxygen. So, anyway, yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, this is a wonderful conclusion to that epic story of, Mike, what is the beer in the corner?
Some people have asked.
Yes.
And now you know.
Now you know.
We get around to it, just like the channel. Changes are glacial.
We move at a glacial pace, and I blame the crew. In any case, what a resurrection of a beer. So we'll take it. What are you going to call this? The super cherry sour? What's going on?
Yeah, what's a good combination of cherry and age? We're going to bring something together.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay, well, I got some things running through my mind. I'm going to just leave them be. Okay, well, hopefully you've enjoyed this roller coaster ride of a story, but the ending is a good one. We've saved a beer, I guess, with the the manpower of the elbow grease of crushing cherries and heating them up and then putting them into the fermenter and seeing what happens. And some lactose too. So thanks for watching. We appreciate your time. Give us a thumbs up if you liked this video. Subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of stuff every single week, or at least we plan to. We finally get around to it every 6 years. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.